So I had Sylvia Abernufferman, and she is a midwife, and midwifery was very important to me with the birth of my child. Sylvia is the only midwife, but in the Metro East, she has the most experience. She's been doing this for decades. She is amazing. She delivered my 2-year-old, and we felt it appropriate to have it again. This being my 5th child, I wanted a easy birth. Nobody anticipated it going as rough as it did, because usually on your 5th child, they are just supposed to just follow suit and just come on out. And this one was a little bit more of a struggle, not to be too overly dramatic about it, but it was a lot harder.
We knew what we wanted to accomplish and what we wanted to have happen. And when things were starting to get rough, we still let Sylvia make some good decisions on our behalf, and we were patient, and it worked out. I saw how she deliberated with the rest of the staff, and everybody came up with some good ways ahead and some good options, and it was just a total team effort. And I felt, me and Melissa both felt that what we wanted was being represented and was being considered, and along with the expertise of what should happen too, and it just kind of worked perfectly so that the outcome was very positive.
I had anticipated like a normal birth. The baby was born, the baby would be placed on me, and everything would be fine. And then baby was placed on me, and then the look of stark concern on my husband's face, on my midwife's face, and on my nurse Gina's face was startling, because I was exhausted. I didn't know what was going on, and normally you get to hold your baby and stuff like that, and they just took the baby. And I was confused and tired because of 18 hours. And I looked at my nurse, and they're like, "It's okay, everything's gonna be okay." But she stayed in the room, and that was huge. And so as things were progressing with Mia, I guess I started bleeding a little bit more than anybody was comfortable with. And so Sylvia and Gina and other nurses were working very quickly to help me. And then a few minutes later, the neonatologist came over and very sweetly just said, "Baby's having a little bit of some struggling. We do need to take her to the NICU, and it's gonna be okay." And I figured, well, okay, just how calming and how confident the staff was. That played a huge role, because my emotions were all over the place. I just got hit by a Mack truck, whatever. But everybody's like, "It's gonna be okay." But the level of confidence was very reassuring. And so they brought her over to me for a very quick kiss, and then they took her. My husband went with her.
Typically, because this is our 5th child, we know that when the baby's born, they start to cry, and that's a good thing. But Mia wasn't crying when she was born, and she was very listless and very unresponsive. And so immediately the nursing staff, the nursery staff, set to work trying to recover her, revive her. She was breathing, but very shallow, and then her lungs would collapse and wouldn't open back up again. And so she was very unresponsive, and it was kind of scary to see that, but I also had faith that I could see how professional they were, and the staff were not concerned, they were not stressed, and I knew they had everything under control. And that gave me a lot of relief to know that even though I couldn't do much about it, that Mia was in very capable hands.
One of the things that I have experienced with my subsequent pregnancies and deliveries, that once the baby is born, the mom's kind of just, "Okay, you're done." I was still a very important part of the staff. I was taken care of. That is so key, because it's not like that in other hospitals or with any of our other deliveries. I mean, this is the first delivery we've had here at Memorial, but when my husband and her staff left to go down to the NICU, I was taken care of by the nursing, and they were so nurturing and so confident and so uplifting, and they want to talk to me, and they wanted to, I'm sure, keep me from getting stressed. And I wasn't stressed, because I knew that at the level of confidence I had in the staff and it all played out very, very smoothly. What could have been a very scary turn of events was not, because everybody was prepared from just the beginning to the end. They were completely prepared, and that was huge. After I had recovered sufficiently enough, the neonatologist came down to talk to us, and he was amazing. He talked about that you see this in 10% of births, and it's called transitional tachypnea. It was just the baby was too stressed. He was very informative of what we were going to see, what was going to happen, what he anticipated. So much communication, so much confidence, and it was stuff that we could process and understand, and we were an integral part of making decisions for her, and everything just was very, very smooth. They wheeled me down to the NICU, and she had tubes all over, and I was a little emotional, but most mothers would be. The NICU staff swarmed me and were very loving. I said, "No, it's okay. She's going to be okay. I know this is scary. Let's have you sit down." And they brought over a chair and had me comfortable, and they handed me my daughter for the first time and allowed her to nurse on me. And even with tubes everywhere, they were so supportive. And for a mom and postpartum and those few precious moments of bonding with your child, the staff knew that. They knew how important that was. And they did every effort that they could to provide me with that. And I have this confidence that if they couldn't, if it was too dangerous, they wouldn't have done it, but they would have done everything that they could to support me as a mom in a fragile state, and also to support my husband. And it was, what a very scary situation was a very beautiful experience.